about what happened to Jacob. You know, anytime a citizen is injured or killed by the police, it's not a good thing, and it needs to be reviewed. And not only does that need to happen, we need to really look at what's going on there.
To show support for our Evanston family member, Jacob Blake. Jacob is the son of Big Jake and Julia Jackson. I grew up with both of them here in Evanston. We played on the Bucks and Fam with Jake during our junior high years. We attended Evanston Township together. He transferred to Notre Dame to play football, and I stayed at Evanston. We both graduated high school in 1985. Jake attended Alabama A&M in Huntsville, Alabama, and I attended Stillman College in Tuscaloosa, Alabama. We talk about culture shock after being raised here in Evanston. We used to visit each other's campuses, and after college, continue to kick it to this very day. Jacob Blake, who was shot by a police officer in Kenosha on Sunday, grew up in Evanston as part of a family with deep ties to local community activism. Jacob's grandfather, also named Jacob Blake, served as pastor of Ebenezer AME Church in Evanston and was a local leader in the civil rights movement. After the death of Martin Luther King Jr. in 1968, the Reverend Jacob Blake helped organize and spoke to a crowd of about 3,000 Evanston residents who marched in support of a local comprehensive housing law. Blake's grandfather, who died in 1976, later led his congregation in construction of the Ebenezer Brim Towers, which is located right down the street here. The Reverend Jacob Blake became pastor of the church in 1967. He noticed the need for low-income housing for community members when they reached their retirement years, according to a June 16, 1974 Tribune article on the development's opening. Land for the development at Emerson Street in Maple was purchased for $75,000 from Northwestern University after pressure from students. According to reporting at that time, the building was described as possibly the first black-sponsored and black-managed development subsidized by the Federal 236 program, which was created to provide housing to low and moderate income individuals. The building across the street is also named in his honor. The name is Jacob Blake Manor. We all have some of their residents actually in attendance here today. Also at this time, I want to deliver a message from Julia Jackson, Jacob's mother, to all of her Evanston family and friends, and I'm paraphrasing here. She said that she is sorry that she has not responded to her friends and family here in Evanston. She says she loves all of you, but these are difficult times for her and her family, and to please give them some space. This speaks to the character of this woman, one of our own. I'm so proud to call her friend, and I know they appreciate all of you being here. I did not speak for the family outside of Julia's message, but I want to tell you why we felt it necessary to show support for them, even though they are going back and forth between Kenosha, where this violent attack took place, and Milwaukee, where Jacob was airlifted to, because even though Kenosha police can cause trauma, they don't have a trauma unit in their hospital to do the needed repair to the vertebrae, colon, liver, kidney, intestines, and arm that was severely damaged for life. He is currently paralyzed from the waist down, and only a miracle will make him walk again. This is about support. The family did a press conference earlier, and I will refer all of you to that. They can speak for themselves. I saw firsthand yesterday how a family cannot properly grieve this horrible situation, not just because of COVID, but because they had jumped up in the middle of the night, went to Kenosha, then to Milwaukee, no clothes, no toiletries, in another state with a blue wall of not only silence, but also of intimidation. The mother of Jacob's 3 children was denied the keys to her home by police until she gave a statement, even though she was never arrested. Milwaukee pastor Redante Asher from the Infinite Church helped provide toiletries and clothes, and Pastor Richard Dino Shaw, also from Milwaukee, helped to pay for rooms for some of the family members. A lot of people up there were helping. There was an extended family. Everybody understood that something happened, and something happened that was changing lives. The family is pushing for all of us, the Evanston community, to support the complete passing of the George Floyd Justice and Policing Act of 2020, a bill that was sponsored by U.S. Reps Karen Bass and Jerry Nadler. At this point in time, I'm going to have Representative Jan Schakowsky speak to that bill.
The George Floyd Justice and Policing Act did pass the House of Representatives. And what it did was mandate, not just encourage, but mandate that the police take all kinds of precautions in terms of chokeholds and behavior, because we can't keep gathering this way. But today's gathering is about a family crisis, an Evanston family crisis. That's why all of us are here, to give hope and support to the family. But it's also about a national crisis. How many times in how many places are we going to have to gather to talk about Black Lives Matter, to talk about justice in policing? We have got to finally pass that bill. And I want to tell you that bill would never have been on the agenda. It wasn't even predicted until thousands, tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of Americans and even people around the world stood up and said enough is enough. Enough is enough. And that is why that bill even got on the agenda and passed the House of Representatives. And so organizing works, demonstrating works, demanding from our public officials actually does work. And now we have to take the next step and make sure that the Republicans will understand that they have to pass this bill. Without justice, there is no peace. Without justice, there is no peace. And so my heart goes out to the family. This is a name. Jacob Blake is known throughout Evanston. That name belongs to Evanston for at least 3 generations, maybe more, 4 or 5 generations in this town, of doing good work, of providing housing, of helping people. And so we are gathered here today to pray for Jacob that his injuries will be better, that he will be able to walk again, and to just express our solidarity with the family, with the Blake family. I am proud to be with you today. I recently had surgery. I'm not going to be able to march with you, but I am with you every step of the way until we have justice. Thank you.
It was actually my first boyfriend in Evanston, and he used to walk down the street like, "I love you, girl." So he just always made me feel so good, and he's such a good dad. Like, seriously, I've always seen him with his kids when he was out here. Even when he see my kids, he treat them like they his own. Him surviving this is not shocking to me, because he's survived a lot already. He's just one of those type of people that conquers anything that comes his way. He's always been so supportive to the community. He could see somebody in need right now, pull his car over, show them something like what he did out there, you know? That's just who Jacob is, and he deserves justice. And it's one thing to see it happening around the world, but to see it happen to somebody that I grew up with, someone that I personally know, is even more drastic. And I just really hope Jacob get his peace. And I hope moving forward that we really make a change, because we need it for our children. I'm raising 3 boys in Evanston and 3 black boys in Evanston. And it actually makes me nervous and scared to know what their journey will be like. You know, you could just be walking down the street and they'll stop you. You know what I'm saying? You could just be at a party. If there's more than 5 of you, they're gonna harass you. Like, we need to be treated like everybody else, and that's what we're here for today.
It's awful that we keep meeting under these circumstances in the light of COVID and the awful police terror that we've seen in this nation. that we keep meeting under these circumstances. I'm really just running out of words. I'm running out of words. It's different this time because it's touched our community. I can't say that I have a personal story with Jacob, but we all know and love Jacob, the Blake family. We know and love the Jake family. They are a legacy family. They have poured into this community. They have given back. I can speak to what I know about Jacob's father as an entrepreneur who has worked to provide jobs and opportunities for returning citizens. I can speak to what I know about his uncle, Justin, who has served this community and served Chicagoland, working on the Black Uplift, the collective Black Uplift. I can speak to the historical context that I have learned about Jacob Blake and his legacy across the street, Jacob Blake Manor. I can speak to the legacy of this family. I have only heard good about Jacob, and I can tell you that Jacob's younger brothers, Janari and Jacoby, those are my nephews, my sister's children. So this is touching us all, it's touching this community. I'm so proud of this community, Evanston, for the very bold actions that we have taken. We have not been compromised. We have stood up. We have united. The allied community, the Black community, has done extraordinarily well in this space. But enough is enough. We have got to say enough is enough. We are exhausted. We are all traumatized. We are all functioning in trauma every day, getting up as Black people and allies and people that love Black people, traumatized every day, scared to turn on social media when you just want to look at something pleasant. And we have to look at our people being shot. Jacob was shot at least 7 times in his bed with his sons in the back seat of the car. This is a problem, America. 65 people this weekend. This is a problem, America. And thank you to our Congresswoman, Jan, for always being there, for being a bold leader in the nation. Thank you, Jan. We are behind you. Thank you, everybody in this allied community. Just thank you, Evanston. But to the Blake family, to Jacob, brother, we are praying with you. We are praying for your full recovery. We are getting reports, and we want your full recovery, Jacob. We are praying for the whole Blake family as they deal with this trauma. His children, his siblings. We saw them on the press conference. They are hurting. We are all hurting. So continue to stand up, raise your voice, vote, please. Continue to be allies, continue to unite. Let go of your differences and unite on this one thing. Black Lives Matter, they are valued. We are here, we will be heard. Unite on that. Unite on that. Unite on gun violence, police terror. Unite on that. So thank you.
They already tried to assassinate Brother Jacob Blake's character online. Don't debate our humanity online. I'm not doing it. That's done. I'm not about to debate with you to prove that I matter, to prove that I'm a human being. Something that one of his sisters said is, when you say Jacob Blake's name, make sure you say he was a father. He was a cousin. He is a cousin. He is a father. He's a human being, and that's what she ended with. He is a human being. He was dragged. His clothes were snatched and torn, close distance, shot 8 times. And I don't know why I keep thinking about this, but the last shot, the officer wasn't even looking at him. Right. He was looking at his, I don't know the relationship, his girlfriend, partner, that was stomping on the ground in sheer, in horror. All I want to say is that I hope it trickles down to local governments as well, because as a Black man, I can only speak from my lens. I have been under constant pressure in this country. And I know my brothers and sisters out there feel the same way. Why are we under so much suspicion? Why can we not walk peacefully through our own neighborhoods? Why can we not shop peacefully in our own neighborhoods without being under constant suspicion like we are a threat? It is exhausting. And we need your help as allies to end this. Okay? To end this. Our bodies don't mean nothing to these people. It's like they're trying to control us. We've been denied in housing. We've been racially profiled. Our neighborhoods have been redlined. They're trying to control us. And when they can't control us, our bodies have been beaten and dragged and mutilated and now shot. We gotta change this. And I just want to say good vibes out to Jacob Blake. Can we just say Jacob Blake's name 10 times? Jacob Blake! 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 Jacob Blake!
This whole thing is heartbreaking and enraging. I can't articulate this stuff. We're taught that we shouldn't hold any person in contempt, and a good chunk of society holds black people in contempt, or Muslims in contempt. There are people who hold us in contempt, and that's just not okay. It's true that all lives matter, but all lives includes black lives, and people tend to forget that black lives do matter. And so that's why I'm here. I don't understand. I mean, in the demonstrations after George Floyd's death, there were complaints about excessive violence. So you'd think, gee, we better stop doing excessive violence. And they didn't. They ramped it up. Shooting anyone in the back is not okay under any circumstances. It's not a matter of self-defense or even misguided self-defense. It's just thumbing their nose at black people. Okay, my name is Michael Gilbert-Koplow, and I'm an outside agitator because I'm here from Schakowsky.
About that, we just need allies to really stand up and not just simply put signs in the yard, but actually show up, be supportive, and speak out. Because what happened in Kenosha can happen here, and that we really need to ensure that the police are properly trained so that black people are not considered criminals right away. You know, how do we decriminalize black people? I have a 28-year-old son. It just takes my breath away thinking about it, you know? I came out to support the Blake family. Obviously, their legacy from Jacob's father to his son and his children. It's been a part of our community. We've been close with Justin. We've been in class of '87, so it's just monumental. It's so ironic that 8 years ago, Justin came out and orchestrated a rally for my son when he was a kid. So obviously we're not talking about a murder here, but we're talking about gun violence. And gun violence being affected our black community. And
Black lives matter! 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 No peace! No peace! No justice! 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 No peace! Jacob Blake! Jacob Blake! Jacob Blake! Jacob Blake! Jacob Blake! Black Lives Matter! 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 Jacob Blake! Jacob Blake! Jacob Blake! Jacob Blake! Black Lives Matter! Black Lives Matter! Jacob Blake! Jacob Blake!